Hello, everybody. Welcome to another episode of Uncondition Yourself, our talk show on women's health. Today, we will be talking about thyroid, both hyper as well as hypothyroid, which is very prevalent in women. In fact, 10 times more prevalent in women than it is in men. We'll understand the reasons, the causes, the symptoms, and most importantly, why 1/3 cases go undiagnosed in our country, even though all it takes is a simple blood test. So to talk about this and more, we have our in-house expert, Dr. Sanjeev Shah. Thank you for joining us, Doc. Why don't we start with the very basics? What is thyroid? What are the two types that we just spoke about, hyper and hypothyroid, and then the basics like causes and symptoms?
So first of all, thyroid is a butterfly-shaped gland located in the middle of a neck. Like any other hormonal gland, is not visible but has plenty of function to do in the body. Now the condition what we call thyroid disorder, people refer to as hypothyroidism. But we should also know that under functioning of a gland is called hypothyroidism, and overproduction of a hormone is called as hyperthyroidism. In addition, there are conditions like small benign tumors in thyroid, and lastly, cancerous tumors in thyroid. Both this enlarged gland, goiter, and cancer are very, very rare conditions. So today we are going to focus more on hypothyroidism and hyperthyroidism. Now both these conditions are autoimmune system derived related. These days we are very much aware with antibodies to COVID.
Correct.
So there are similar antibodies which are targeted to thyroid gland. They destroy the gland and that results into hypothyroidism. There was another word called autoimmune thyroiditis. And this process of damage happens over a period of long time. So it remains silent, it remains undiagnosed, and people don't come to know. Now, as you mentioned about why common in women, because autoimmune diseases are more common in women.
What is the reason for that?
Because the immune system has to act, and the extra X chromosome in women makes them susceptible. All the rheumatoid disorders, all other autoimmune disorders are also more common in women.
Right.
The second reason why it is common in women, because women undergo multiple hormonal fluctuations in puberty during the pubertal growth, then in pregnancy, every month after month in a cycle, hormones change, and finally around menopause, when the cycles go away. So women have multiple hormonal susceptibility. So women, when they are pregnant, the hormones are totally different. They create antibodies which manifest later after delivery as postpartum thyroiditis.
So they don't have it during pregnancy but suddenly get it after delivery.
After delivery.
Is this
and
common, doctor?
It's very, very common, and this is called postpartum thyroiditis leading to hypothyroidism. But I would like to tell you that as you mentioned about undiagnosed, this is what gets picked up in the first trimester of pregnancy. All OBGY people should screen all the women for thyroid test in pregnancy.
Is it very common to get thyroid in pregnancy?
It's very common in pregnancy, and that remains undiagnosed because the required norm is to get TSH below 2.5 in pregnancy.
Okay.
So a borderline thyroid in a normal situation, we would pass away, not pay attention, may not treat. But they all require treatment during pregnancy.
And this is again, when you say treatment, the medication is a lifelong medication. So I think that's one of the inhibitions in women's mind, that once I start, I have to continue it for life, right?
Right. The treatment of hypothyroidism is just a single pill of levothyroxine. So one doesn't have to worry. It's a natural product. What a body makes, exactly the same chemical composition, levothyroxine, which is synthesized, extremely cheap, once a day, very safe, no side effects whatsoever. So taking lifelong has no issue. You have to just take it early morning, pop the pill, forget about it, don't discuss, don't talk, and the life goes on.
And what about hyperthyroid? What's the treatment for that?
Hyperthyroidism requires blocking the gland. Hyperthyroidism means an excess production. So the gland should function less, the hormone synthesis should be blocked. So we use a specific chemical for a blockade within the gland. This treatment goes on for a year or two. 50 to 80% people get cured. Some people require for 5 years, and a small number, which is a treatment of choice in USA, is a radioactive iodine.
Okay.
One shot of iodine kill the gland, make an individual hypothyroid forever, and who would take thyroxine for rest of the life. But hyperthyroidism is curable. Hypothyroidism is perfectly controllable. So we won't use the word curable, but we would say perfectly controllable.
Which is very good.
Which is very good, and patient can live a normal life. Does not come in the way of any functioning, no complications of hypothyroidism, and no interaction with any other sickness.
You know, when we talk about complications, if you don't get diagnosed and don't start the treatment on time, what are the complications that an untreated, undiagnosed thyroid, what can it lead to in terms of complications?
Now, if we separate this, hyperthyroidism is never silent. Hyperthyroidism will always have a symptoms of weight loss, palpitation, shakiness in the hands, excessive sweating. So this will always get diagnosed, not early, sometimes late. But hypothyroidism would remain undiagnosed in large many women. So women will have miscarriage in first trimester, undiagnosed hypothyroidism. A woman will not conceive, infertility. A woman would have, in the middle age, undiagnosed condition would have a dry skin, excess hair fall, weight gain, depression, low hemoglobin, anemia, many consequences. In a higher age group, 5th and 6th decade of life, cholesterol would be higher and a higher risk of coronary. So undiagnosed hypothyroidism have some morbidity if not treated at right time.
You know, talking about the opposite case, I've seen a lot of women who say, oh, you know, I've been taking one tablet for years, and now with the right lifestyle, I've managed to make it half a tablet. So they somehow feel really good about having reduced their dose by half. So is that a myth, or is it good to reduce by half? And then what kind of lifestyle changes can help you reduce your dosage?
Now, most of the lifestyle changes, yoga, acupressure, will not achieve a reduction in the dosage. The dosage is not adjusted based on your symptoms. The dosage is adjusted based on the laboratory report of perfect TSH level achieved, what is desirable like normal people. Now taking one pill a day of 50 or 100, how does it make a difference? I wonder when psychological people say half the dose, but it still amounts to taking one pill every morning. So whether you take 50, 75, 100 or 125, whatever dose your body needs, you are taking it. And mind you, this is not everything goes in your body. You are popping the pill which goes in the intestine, part of it gets thrown out, part goes into the system. So many people whose absorption is 50%, they take 150, only 75 is working. So externally, whatever is the dose doesn't matter, your report is normal, you are living normal.
And you know, just taking a step back, when you talk about thyroid, are the causes always genetic, or a lot of times we hear that, oh, if you're a very stressed out person, you're eventually going to get thyroid. Is that a myth or is that a fact?
No, if we get back to your original question of why it happens. So one of the reasons these days the women have much higher stress than the man when it comes to younger age and academics. When it comes to a job profile in younger age group of third decade, they have to manage the family, children, job. So women are highly stressed out. Another reason observed.
So stress does lead to thyroid.
Stress leads to a signaling into an immune system to make antibodies. So it's indirect pathway, not directly through stress and cortisol, but through immune system. It makes you susceptible to immune disorder. Another reason observed is the smoking in women, which has increased these days in last couple of decades. So that has resulted into. A third reason is environmental chemicals, which have a damaging effect on the endocrine gland.
Interesting.
So endocrine disrupting chemical is a new emerging science, and we are moving in the direction of, for example, some of the plastic and some of the chemicals which are into the packaging industry and into the water gets into the system and which affect multiple endocrine glands. So these things also trigger. The last thing is the frequent viral infection, which would trigger an antibody. So there is something called molecular mimicry, which results into autoimmune disorder, whether it is a joint, vitiligo, type 1 diabetes, or a thyroid disorder. So antibodies is the main trigger. So stress, hormonal fluctuation in women, multiple different stage in women, and then the hereditary. It is surprising that in women, a son does not get it and a daughter gets it. So frequently it happens that daughter gets selected for an autoimmune disease.
Right.
So we always recommend that the girl's daughter should be, we have plenty of patients where mother and the daughter comes together. Of course, there are some families where the sons also got it, but
That's lower.
It's lower.
Probability. And in fact, it's a great segue to talk to Zia because, Zia, when we were talking earlier, you mentioned about how you have two daughters, a 22-year-old and your 9-year-old, and your older daughter does not have thyroid, but you discovered that your younger daughter does have thyroid, which, typically you don't think about kids having thyroid.
Correct.
So I'd love for you to share your story as well as how, as a mother, you realize that, my younger daughter could have this, let's go get it checked out.
So basically, my daughter who has thyroid is now 15 years.
Okay.
Yeah, and she got it when she was 9. It's been a decade now since I have been diagnosed with a thyroid disorder. And with the proper guidance from doctors and medications, I had a safe delivery and was blessed with a healthy baby girl. But later on, I continued my medications and that really helped me. It did not affect me to a large extent, but later on I did experience a lot of symptoms of thyroid.
Okay.
After 2 years, acute joint pain, muscle pain, hoarseness of voice, and also weight gain.
Okay.
So in spite of me taking good care of my diet, because I could make out there is some change in my body, I need to take care of my diet, but that would not, I still gained weight. And that's when I was diagnosed with hypothyroidism.
Okay.
So I did take my medications and timely health checkups and so forth and so on. Later on, this weight gain symptoms started being showing in my younger daughter.
That's when you realize that I should go get a check.
Yes.
But Namita, what Zia experienced, weight gain, constipation, some of the symptoms of hypothyroidism, I would like the people to note that half of the patients will not have any symptoms of hypothyroidism.
Right. And that's why the
Undiagnosed
shocking
condition,
numbers.
and that requires periodical screening.
Which is a simple blood test.
Simple blood
I think we
test of-
can't repeat that enough, that all it takes is a simple blood
And
test.
it's a single TSH blood test,
Yes.
Right.
not necessarily full profile. One blood test will is sufficient to diagnose asymptomatic hypothyroidism.
Right. But I think it's very nice in Zia's case that she was a vigilant mother.
And
So-
the right treatment in that child would benefit in the growth of that child.
Oh, that's very important.
Yes, right.
But how did you convince her to take it every single day?
As such, she had no problem because young mind, she did not realize the extent of what she is suffering
Yeah, that's always
from.
the case, right?
Eventually, she'll grow up and she will learn.
Right.
So we take care of it. We don't miss a single day of her medicine. And she's keeping well.
You were vigilant enough to catch it at the right age. So
Yes,
thank you for giving this very important message to all the mothers watching this. Pratiksha, we'd love to hear your story because I think one of the nice things is today we had Zia with hypothyroid and we had you with the other condition, which is hyperthyroid.
Yes.
How did you diagnose it? I mean, doctor mentioned that the symptoms are more easy to catch, the weight loss and all. What were some of the emotions or fears or stigmas going through your head before you diagnose this, and then once you diagnose?
So initially when I got the symptoms, it was like I was losing a lot of weight. I was feeling a lot of, a kind of a sweaty person. Even if I'm sitting in an AC, I used to sweat a lot. And then shakiness, heart palpitations, rapid heartbeat. So this was a common symptoms that I've got on an earlier stage. And initially it was like, I was like, it was just like an, kind of thing a normal person gets. But then within 3 months, I've lost almost 10 kgs.
10 kilos.
Yeah,
That's a lot.
so that time my dad has said that you have to see a doctor right now. So yeah, initially traumas were there because I got it on a very, very early stage and I don't have any hereditary, kind of thing in my family as in thyroid. So that time was a phase when doctor has entered and he has recommended me some solutions, doing meditation, going out for a walk, exercise, and frequently checkups of, as I said, for thyroid and all. So yeah, following that, I'm just leading a good life right now.
Correct. So thank you, Dr. Shah, for sharing all this information for us. Thank you, Pratiksha. Thank you, Zia,
Thank you
for
so
sharing
much.
your stories. And I think the most important take-home message for our viewers is that this is one of those conditions which is not diagnosed on time. And the sad thing is, it should be diagnosed on time, because all it takes is a simple blood test. So please don't get lazy about that annual blood test. Do not procrastinate, especially if you know that your mother has it. It is genetic to a large extent. Let's get informed. Let's go for those annual checkups on time. And like Doc so beautifully said, it's perspective. This is the easiest of all conditions if you had to pick one, because one's curable and the other's controllable. So go get that annual checkup done soon. Thank you.
ढूंढने है वो निकली तकदीर अपनी उजली, इल्ली ने मन में ठाना है बन के उड़ना है दिल